Here we go. And this presentation was produced under U.S. Department of Education contract number ED-ESE 15A0015/0006 with Synergy Enterprises, Inc. The views expressed herein do not necessarily represent the positions or policies of the U.S. Department of Education. No official endorsement by the U.S. Department of Education of any product, commodity, service, or enterprise mentioned herein is intended or should be inferred. So now you're all officially disclaimed for the day. Thanks for taking time out this afternoon. I saw this cute little graphic a couple days ago, and I thought it was very perfect for all of us right now. I know many of you are teaching in a room, teaching on Zoom in a house with your mouse. You're teaching literally here, there, and everywhere because you care. So I just thought that was the cutest thing, and I had to share it with y'all. I thought today was a good day. What was that?
I said I love this.
Yeah, I thought that one was very cute. If anybody wants the thing, let me know. I'll send it over. So thanks for joining. I'd like to go ahead and just kind of do some quick introductions. Because we only have an hour today, we can go around and introduce who everybody is. If you're on camera, if you want to wave. If you're not on camera, we'll indicate where you are. That way we can keep most for discussion. Because I know that's everybody's kind of favorite part. So as we go, we'll kind of go to grantee. So from Albuquerque, we have Charlene joining us, and Jerry and Mila. They're the 3-person instructional team for Albuquerque. And then let's see, from Anchorage, we have Louise and Benica joining us. And Louise teaches the 1st grade group, and Benica is their family engagement liaison. Then as we move over to Yukon-Koyukuk, we have Christy joining us. And I think, yeah, Susan has logged in as well. And Christy kind of works on the grant end of things, and Susan with the language instruction. I think everybody's met most folks on today. And then, see, make sure I didn't forget. Oh, and it looks like Daisy also joined on from Albuquerque. And then I will let Tanya welcome everyone.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm glad you could join us. And I'm looking forward to today's session with you guys. I am so ready to come back to DC to work. I miss my coworkers. I miss normalcy. So I'm ready for this Corona stuff to be over. But I'm glad everybody is healthy and doing well. Wash your hands, cover your face, and hopefully we'll get through this without any, lasting effects here. So thank you guys for joining.
Well, so as we start out, kind of how we've been starting out, does anybody have any updates, any exciting things that have been going on with your classes or your programs? And you can either unmute and share or put it in the chat box, whatever is easier, because I know depending upon if you're on different devices, sometimes some things are easier than others.
Please.
Okay. And
you ready? I'm going to tie up
your microphone just to kind of cut down on the background noise for everybody else. And then when you have something you want to share, feel free, unmute and jump in. All right. Well, think about if there's anything exciting that's been going on, anything that's changed. It's been about 2 weeks since we've met. If you've kind of changed up anything with how you're doing your virtual instruction or anything new happening, let us know. I know everybody tends to find that information useful. But I'll go ahead and share a couple of things that we had talked about before. And we were following up on with more specific resources and some things that other programs have been doing. So as we look at that, there we go. So these are pictures of some of the materials that Susan's been using with her students. And Susan, if you want to unmute and kind of tell them what they're looking at, I know you'll do a much better job than I would.
Am I unmuted?
You are unmuted.
Okay, it was hard to tell. Okay, so this one that says welcome to Denaga class. That is the front of our workbook, and it shows a map there of our villages here in Alaska. So this one is Denaga, which is in these three villages here, and then we have another village which has Benti Hatana Kanaga, which is the language of Minto. And then in the workbook are 5 units on different topics. And this page here with it's folded back, that is the feelings unit. And we borrowed images from the Yukon Native Language Center, and through the grant we had it colored. And this is, we put it into business card form. And so the kids can use these to play games. And then this one here is the counting. Oh yeah. So we have 130 kits, and Holly, our language assistant, I don't know if she's online. This side here shows the business cards. There's some that have the Denaga phrases and some that are blank, so students can challenge themselves. And this here is Holly's table. She had to sort 130 sets, and there's 100 cards in each set, so like 13,000 cards. She was really busy. But I've got great feedback from people that the kids are enjoying the games and messaging me, asking me questions and stuff. So as a supplement, then we're doing a YouTube channel with these images.
Well, and what I love is, so through their grant, Susan and Holly and their team created, full workbooks to be used throughout the instructional year. But you can see here for their home learning, they're doing an abbreviated version in just a folder. So just a folder with brads. They've put their materials in it. So something that's very economical, not huge to try to distribute. Here, these are those, it's similar to the page protectors, except it's a page protector for business cards.
Becky
so then
Hughes
to
is
branch
now joining
their kits. So, that's kind of a nice little way to be able to break out the different topics here after doing the 13,000 sort. And then I believe, Susan, these are your game pieces, right? And you just have them in a Ziploc baggie in here along with some of the paper game boards.
Yes, so we have these little, because we didn't know what people have in their homes, for playing like a board game. Yeah. And so just using a binder clip, they just cut out one of these little animals and put it on their binder clip, and then they can move along on the game board. And then there's blank bingo cards that they can use, and then there's also a game board that we made.
Yeah. Well, and we will go, I'll switch screens because Susan was nice enough to share with us a template because so many people were interested after we kind of shared what she was doing. And so she has actually shared a template that I will email out to all of you. It's too big for me to put in the chat box for download. So I'm just going to email it out after our time together today. But I'll show you what it looks like. So here is the template of the workbook that they're using for the home learning. And you can see the first pages are exactly the same as in their regular school year workbook. Then as you go down, it's got, okay, here's what I want you to do April 1st to 10th, 13th to 24th, 27th to May 8th, and 9th to 20th. Most of you in school right around the 20th to the 22nd. Goes over some of the games. It's got these conversations here. goes over the rules of the games and what materials you would need. So this is something that she's provided that y'all could then take and use as a template or an idea plate to create something similar, if that would be helpful for you and your students. It's got these business card that you can use, all the different pieces and parts. Like I said, I'm going to email that out because it's just a little too chunky for the chat box. But that way you'll all have those materials as well. And we really appreciate her being so willing to share her materials. All right. So let me show you a couple of other things that people are doing. All right, maybe. There we go. So she mentioned that she had started a YouTube channel. So I wanted to kind of show you what that looks like, and I can send out a link if you want to see some of this as well, but just to take a little quick peek.
For lower dialect, Nadaje Mausa. Nadaje Mausa. Tom Mausa. Tom Mausa. Nadaje Mausa. Nadaje Mausa. Tom Mausa. Tom Mausa.
That's just one example of just some short little videos that she's posting there on her YouTube channel. And then in Anchorage, the UPIC program has been posting some storybooks and having them read in UPIC online on their Facebook page. So that's another one that if you're interested in following their Facebook page and some of the things that they're doing with social media, but just to kind of show you how they're doing that.
Asala yak, bilingach the Terry Sloat. Bumikjistik James Berlin Sr., Oscar Alexa Clue. Computer akon bilingach the Caroline Nevak. Sulista, Nakista, Asalak, Akanasaga, Drignil Taku Kaklu. Biuk Shields, Angukaraglup, Akanakuluk Shields, Ugnakak, Gangalnuk Shields, Alanga Shaklu. Agnaw Jock Varney. Jakaluta Quitashini Gimuk, Aganasagak, Angukaragluklu. Jet illikni Aganasagak, Asali Shinuk. Asala. Doilu Asalaga, Kachkagluni, Agagluni, Kimashinuk Samun. Outside, I visit. Die! Agnasaga kanchtok. Asala yaga. Die ka. Angukara kanchtok. Akfityo kaluten. Angustiga tavanga. Kanchtok asala yak.
Asala yak. Die ka. Milnamkin.
Nakakanchtok.
So you can see just a little snippet of that, but on their Facebook page, they're posting these regularly, and it's got the different little voices. Louise and Benika, do you have any kind of other details about how y'all are engaging with families on Facebook?
So sometimes you would possibly post a GIF that had something to do with a specific day. Like the most recent one was Earth Day. And a GIF was created to say it in UPIC and just something fun for the family to see. So stuff kind of materials like that. And then video. There's going to be another video uploading very shortly. So it's just been a way to still engage in a format that the families can see. And it's just, that's kind of what it's basically used for.
Yeah,
This is Louise. I also recorded myself using the QuickTime player with my laptop. I recorded myself singing some songs, and I posted them up to the Google. I forgot what it's called, but
The classroom?
yeah. Before Miss Anderson went on her maternity leave, she published them into her Canvas, where the students are able to go in and click on the epic stuff that I posted in there, like posters and songs.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And it's great how well y'all are collaborating with your English partner teachers, even during this time when everything's virtual. Thanks for sharing. The next one I was going to show you is actually from the group that we went to visit, and we've included in our promising program showcases the Pagan Institute there in Montana. And so they've been posting these word of the days, and let me get it to where you'll be able to hear it.
Kita kita matsin. Kita kita matsin. I will see you again. There are slight variations of this phrase. You can use this for plural by saying Kita kita matsin ochboa. Kita kita matsin ochboa. Kita kita matsin ochboa. I will see you all again. Kita kita matsin. Kita kita matsin. Kita kita matsin. I will see you again. This phrase is brought to you by the Pagan Institute in Cutswood Schools.
This is how you test your significant other.
Apparently it's going to just start putting any old video up after that. So that's how they are doing their word of the day videos, and they post them right on Facebook. They're not actually housed in any other spot. So the difference being, you know, I was able to just play that one video that was posted for Anchorage's program because they had uploaded it to an external program and then put it on Facebook, where the ones that they're doing at the Pagan Institute, they're just uploading the file straight from their computer. So that's why you have to actually be in Facebook to see and play that. And anything like that that you put on those types of sites, you can also set the settings if you want students to be able to download it and watch it when they're not on the internet. So I know a lot of the students, even if they maybe sometimes have internet, it's not the most stable. It's not something that they have all the time. So you could post those and students could even download them to be able to access offline. So just another example of what some folks are doing. And you can see that one is mainly an audio file that they've put with some PowerPoint slides. So there's lots of different ways that you could go about creating some different types of videos that students and their families can engage with. Any questions or thoughts on the things that we've looked at so far? And I know Charlene posted over in the chat box that she's also been putting her direct instruction online in video form. Charlene, could you kind of share a little bit about what that looks like?
Sure. Well, what I did was for them to know those are the ones that using dolls and figures and grab them quickly. It's just right there. Show you quickly what. Like animal figures and just naming these and recorded these and said the names of the animals and just different. And then there are the community people where they have the doctors, nurses, and post office people, and just naming different characters. I uploaded them and kind of messed around with it, and but what I found out was most effective for me to use for my class and getting the oral language across was using the Google Slides. And you can put your instructions on the slides, what to do, and then insert the video on there. And then I kind of struggled, how do I upload them? And what I did was this, I was okay with to share on YouTube. I went ahead and opened my account and shared on YouTube so people can see them. But then there are those that I don't want, and I uploaded those on the what was that? The hold on, I'm just looking quickly. Which is just with this within the school. I just want the school to use and the Google Drive. And this is just with an APS, and anybody that I can email to and that I want to share with can view these videos. And I just went ahead and left it open and for them to view it. If they choose to use it, they may use it, but it's all in Navajo. Like, let's say if I'm assessing or testing, like test questions, and those are the I don't want to put on YouTube for everyone to view. So I found it effective. And the other thing is the Google Docs. You know, we always struggle with codes and getting codes, but Google Docs you can just send as an email, and they can just automatically reach what they need to do, and then instructions. Those are the two things that I've been doing. So, and then and then I did get feedback from parents saying that they were learning on the side, pronunciation and so forth. So they were having fun with that. So so far.
No, that's great. Well, and I love that the parents are learning along with the kids.
Yes.
It's family learning time. Thank you.
Sarah?
Yeah.
In St. Carlos, we've sent home in the homework packets for the early childhood, we've sent home similar games that can be created into board games or card games like memory or matching for the picture and the word. And we've also mostly utilized words that the students have already learned. Additionally, we've sent home tutorials for the parents, and we've set up phone numbers for teachers during specific hours where the teachers are available to provide assistance if the parent needs help with how to pronounce the word, to help the child with the word. In the upper grades, we've got in their Google class, they've got online instruction with their teacher visually, and assignments that are in the class that are tailored to based upon what children already know, to review and to practice the vocabulary. We haven't been able to, we can't post videos like everyone else does online. That's just not approved by the tribe. So a lot of what we're doing is low tech, but we did get permission to open up a new component in our website that we can have a login, and where we can give the parents a login and they can log into the website, and then there will be words and phrases and stories that are, if you push a button, it's read or said in Apache. We just got permission for that. So it's not up yet. We're still collecting all of the materials for that and setting up the login. But although we have videos and we could put them up on YouTube and put them up on, we don't have permission. We can't do that.
Yeah. No, and you of course have to be respectful of, what the rules and guidelines are for all of your different organizations as well as your different tribes and groups. So yeah, all of that needs to be taken into consideration, just looking at what works for each person, and are there any ideas that are working for one person that might be replicable for others. But yeah, thanks for sharing. I like that idea of having a login as kind of a way around it. And then Mila was sharing about a few things she was doing, like with the Brown Bear book. Mila, do you want to kind of tell everybody what you were, some of the stuff you were doing too?
Sure. So the other day, so my access to the Zuni language materials they're housed over at the University of New Mexico. But sometimes I don't use everything there because it's really advanced and it's very culturally sensitive. And then these aren't for these are for my elementary students. And then of course, them being urban Indians, they're not used to the grounding that a reservation Zuni student is. So there's that big difference, and I have to always be cognizant of that, because if I'm not, then I'm not going to be doing a good job at teaching my urban Shiwi students. So I have to always keep that in mind. And so the other day, one of the students showed me, they were at their grandma's house here in town, and they were showing me the books, and I said, oh yeah, I said, I know that, I don't know where that's at, but I can definitely translate it. So, there's that website, Teachers Pay Teachers or something like that. I had downloaded it's not exactly what the book is usually, but it has similar animals. So I translated all in Zuni, and then I wrote it out, and then my students are rehearsing it every day, but they're not looking at any pictures. So yesterday I went and I found online pictures and I attached it. And so that made more sense for them. So it's really about them visualizing and seeing it, then they're able to say it. And next thing, we're going to work on our family trees, because I want them to be able to recognize their put the terms to photos. So I gave them, just an ongoing assignment, because we're really not supposed to have them turn in something, but I want them to be able to show off their technology skills. And so what they're going to do is create family trees, and what I'm doing on my end is showing them the proper terms for grandmothers and the paternal and maternal side, and then they'll match the proper word to the proper photo. Then they'll be able to show others, their classmates. And I've actually had a lot of elementary students getting on, which is not always, we don't know who's going to be on, but they're really engaged, and I really enjoy that.
Yeah, and I think it shows how much they're engaged, that they don't have to necessarily turn anything in, but when it's something enjoyable, making a family tree or working with the bear, that they want to do it.
Yeah. So I appreciate the other language teachers showing us what they're doing now. I wish we could make cool notebooks or workbooks. So maybe for next year we can do that.
Yeah. I've always said, and from the time I first started teaching, education is all about begging, borrowing, lightly stealing. Never have to totally reinvent. It's always nice to have a good idea start, and then we each take it and make it our own. Power in everybody's great ideas. Power in everybody's.
I think everything that was shared is amazing, and the work that goes into what you're doing is commendable. Y'all are doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Well, it's been really nice to see how many students have really remained engaged during this time too. Jerry, did you want to share a little bit about what you've been doing with your students? You have some of the older junior high kiddos.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've stated this once before. My class, we're basically just doing a review. I want the students to retain most of the things they learned, from August to March. And a lot of it is, oral, language. So on Google Classroom, I've been posting lessons that students have seen before. And what they're doing is, they're just copying it, making sure that everything's correct, the language, the words, and also to pay, particular attention to the diacritical marks. And I think it was last week, I tried it on video, but I kind of failed miserably, because I kept losing the kids. The main thing I wanted to, cover and review was the stop, the glottal stops. And I know even in person, when I'm in the classroom, students laugh about it. They think it's funny, the glottal stops. Like, for example, ah, the CH, and then you stop, and then you say the last part, ah. So even in person, in front of the students, when I say these words, when I tell them to practice the glottal stops, they just start laughing. It usually just comes out, like they're having more fun than, trying to say them. So basically, I'm just posting stuff that they've seen before. We went over, I know 2 weeks ago, we went over their personal introduction. And they do it at home, and then they post them on Google Classroom. I'm able to see it. And then we did Native American values. We did the Navajo Hogan. We went over the Navajo basket. So a lot of these things, the material, they have it already, in their notebooks. They've taken notes before.
Yeah.
So basically, they're just reviewing and practicing. And yesterday I had a meeting. I think that's the biggest number I had yesterday. I think I had, let me see, I wrote it down someplace. For Cleveland.
Sounds like you're ready to start writing stories, huh?
Yeah, for McKinley, yesterday's meeting, I had 9 out of 16, log on, and then Cleveland students, I had 10 out of 17. These are altogether was altogether was 19 students out of my 33 that were able to log in.
Yeah.
And they had, we had, a lot of discussion. Students had questions. A few parents, got into it, asking questions, and, they wanted to know certain Navajo words, certain Navajo phrases. And I know when students ask a question, like about a basket, in order to really fully comprehend, the basket, a lot of times, I have to go back to the beginning. You know, there are stories behind, everything. Stories behind, like the Navajo homes, it's called Hogan. There are stories to it. You got to go back from the beginning and then talk about it. That way, the students can hear the whole story and then they see the picture. You know, like Hogan, the Navajo Hogan, always facing east. That's inside of the Hogan, the sunlight early in the morning. First thing it does is, it goes through the entrance and then it lights up the inside of the Hogan. So there was some questions from parents yesterday, and my students are they're participating. A few said that they received Chromebooks that didn't have cameras on them. And so yesterday I had parents that called in. So
yeah. But it sounds like it's going
it's
well.
Going,
yeah.
It's going well.
Well,
I just wanted to end this Corona thing, coronavirus thing.
I think that's where we all are on that. But two of the things I like in particular is you were talking about the importance of reviewing. And I think, as we're all thinking about, we're nearing the end of the school year and wanting to make sure that our students don't lose the language that you've all worked so hard to help them develop this whole rest of the school year. So helping them really reinforce that learning. And I think, a couple of you have talked about the family members starting to get engaged. And we've all talked throughout the year about how difficult it often is to get the families engaged in the language learning as well. And that many of the families don't have a working knowledge of the language to be able to help their students. One silver lining of this home distance education situation may be that it's encouraging more of our adult family members to start engaging in that language learning because they're feeling that pressure of helping their students now. So this may be the silver lining of pushing them to start that language learning on their end as well. So maybe an unintended benefit. Well, and as we think about the reinforcing, I'm really curious from everybody. So I know most of you school ends, like I said, somewhere between the 20th and the 22nd. And none of you, as part of your grant, specifically typically offer a summer program. But I'm curious, are any of you, because of the very quirky position that many of us are in right now, are any of you planning or being asked to engage with your students over the summer months this year? Is there anybody that has there's any kind of plan for summer engagement at this point? Or is the plan more wrap up the school year as normal and then start planning for fall?
I know we're planning programming over the summer for students with special needs.
Okay.
But to extend it beyond that, we're not sure yet. We're still working it out, trying to figure out where the fund's going to come from.
Okay. What about any of our other groups? Any summer plans, or right now just kind of the normal summer plan of wrap up school year?
Sarah?
Yeah.
For APS, I know that we don't have our current grant for language does not cover summer programs.
Right.
And so that's the reason why, because if we have any summer programs, we have to pay our teachers for their time and hours of instruction. And so so if there's expectation for that, we don't have the funds to do that.
No, there's no expectation for that. That's just something that we were curious how groups were handling that, because it does vary so much group to group. and it helps us determine what type of help and support grantees may need over the summer months. But there's no expectation that you add summer if summer is not something you normally do as part of your grant. What about either Anchorage or Yukon Koyukuk? Do y'all have any particular summer plans at this point, or kind of the normal wrap-up school year plan?
So I believe that I think the Zoom office hours are going to end as planned in May 22nd, but I think the school would want us to, is going to have us emphasize our connection still to like students and families, just offering educational resources. So I think it's a lot of things are still up in the air, but that's like the overall plan.
Okay. So yeah, not something necessarily like a formal program like what's happening during the school year, but maybe some informal resource sharing and just connecting.
I believe so. Does that sound right, Ms. Hoover?
I'm not sure what the plans are. I think it would be better to ask Katie since she's our program director. This is my first year here, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of programs, you know, are still sometimes just even figuring that out because we still have a few more weeks until school lets out. Like I said, this doesn't have anything to do with any expectation. It's just kind of information gathering as we look at what our program's doing as the school year wraps up, because the situation is just so different than any school year we've had before. Susan, I know sometimes y'all do some summer programming. Are y'all doing anything this year?
Susan just left the conversation.
She jumped off.
She jumped ship. But the best I can answer right now, there's not a plan since our summer programs are kind of weak right now, but they're trying to incorporate some summer programs. But I think they're utilizing the distance learning games and manipulatives for summer. And then she'll start teaching the classes again at the beginning of next year. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but yeah. That's what I think. I think that was the decision that was made.
Yeah, no one will be held to anything, just informal information sharing. Okay. Yeah, because it's definitely a different time. And I know many summer programs are not being held. So it'll just be an interesting summer for all the students. And that may be something that we want to think about as programs as we near the end of the year. Even if we're not going to engage with our students actively over the summer, we may want to think about some things that we could share with students and families in these last few weeks of school that they could then utilize over the summer on their own, just to keep students learning fresh. It will only benefit us when they come back in the fall. You know, we know like the situation we have now, not all students and families will necessarily utilize those resources throughout the summer, but it might just be something to think about. You know, are there things that you could suggest or share that families could think about using this summer just to keep their students' brains active and language a little bit more fresh with them? So when we will have our last group coaching session in 2 weeks, since most groups ends in 3 weeks. We know most of our instructional staff will be off contract. So the plan was to have our last coaching session in 2 weeks. So I'll be sure and pull some resources on what some other non-grant programs may be doing as far as sharing for summertime. But if any of you have any ideas or have any resources, please share that. And then, you know, kind of like we did today, I can just pop it on a slide or pull it up on the screen to be able to share it with everybody else. And we can all kind of benefit from the group brainstorm again.
You know, this, again, it's for Albuquerque. This is Daisy. I know that overall school district of Albuquerque Public Schools, we are putting together a manual, a continuous learning manual for the summer programs. So there will be an overall summer program online for the little guys and for the high school students with online coursework, where the students will be earning credits and stuff. And so we offer a summer online credit recovery program from Indianet free of charge to our Native American high school students. And so there's programs like that going on all over the district. So we put together a manual, and it's being shared with all the principals right now. And so they are also doing programming on TV through PBS with a local station. So it's all about learning activities for the little guys. So those are things that are going on overall. The other thing that I was thinking about, the Navajo language program, is that our students who are in the program have passwords to the Navajo Rosetta software program, which is in the district mainframe. So the students can access this at any time because that doesn't go off or down. And so when students want to practice their language, they can just log on and they have access to that program.
Yeah, and that reminds me when you're saying about the Rosetta Stone.
Well, I was just saying that was just amazing. That's great.
Yeah. Well, and when you're talking about the Rosetta Stone and some of the things that the district is doing for the summer, one thing that might be something someone would be interested in is, a lot of libraries and schools do things like summer reading programs. Mm-hmm. So I know last time we talked a lot about choice boards and how different programs are using those or were interested in using those. So it might be something you could do, distribute before the school year ends, as far as like a native language choice board summer reading program, where if students do however many things on the choice board that you ask, or they earn a certain number of points off the choice board over the summer, that when they bring it back to school in the fall, maybe there's some sort of small little prize that they get for participating in that language learning throughout the summer, very similar to how they would do the summer reading programs. So that might be a neat way to encourage them to keep going with their language learning over the summer. All right, well, we are nearing time. Does anybody have any other things to share or questions?
Sarah, I have a question. If any of the programs that you guys, that we're all under, if they have videos they could share, or if they have links, it'd be cool to share that with my students and their families. When I know I shared one with the language program out in, is it the Ojibwe? Mm-hmm. Yes, I found that, and that's a really, really neat idea. And so I posted that for my students and families to see, something to wish for.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll share the links when I send out that template that Susan created. I will also share the links to her YouTube channel, Charlene's YouTube channel, the Facebook page for Anchorage's program and the Pagan Institute. So y'all have access to all the videos that all of them are creating. And I'll also reshare from our very first group coaching session, the group out of Canada that is doing videos and language and culture lessons for a number of different groups. So I'll share that one just again to kind of refresh, and that'll be some of those video resources. And then kind of the wrap-up question that we've been doing each time, but just to continue to touch base, are there any particular things that would be helpful as far as support that we could provide? So is there any challenges that are popping up? even if you're not sure what you need. Are there challenges that are occurring that you want to share, new challenges, or are there specific types of support that would be really helpful right now? And I would just encourage you as we go into our last group coaching, because I know often I can't think of anything when I'm right on the spot, but I will remind you in advance of next time's session too. Just be thinking about that. Think about, you know, as we've gone through this unique situation, what have been your biggest challenges? What things could we put in place if this type of language learning situation were to occur again in the future? What are things we could do to help us be more prepared, to help us, you know, each feel just a little bit more comfortable and supported? As we head into the summertime, are there things that we could be doing to help support and prepare you for the coming year? So just mull that over, and we'll discuss it on our next group coaching session. Again, that'll be in 2 weeks. So that's the week of May 11th. We'll get a final date out to you, but I'm just curious, and you can just put in the chat box yes or no if it's easier. But it seems like a Thursday late in the day like this tends to be a little bit easier on everybody's schedule. So this time we did it Thursday at 5 Eastern, and that seemed to be a little bit more amenable to most folks' schedule. So if that schedule kind of works, that would put us Thursday the 14th at 5. If that's a pretty good time for you, if you could just put yes in the box. And if that's not really, you just kind of humored us today, but that is not a great time for you, if you could put no in the chat box. And that'll just be an easy way to quickly get a little feedback on that. Like I said, we will get a new calendar invite out to you by end of day tomorrow to mark that time on your calendar for our last group coaching session. And like I said, send me photos, videos, ideas, anything that you're doing or you're thinking about doing. We love to share those. And I know everybody really has enjoyed getting to see what everyone else is doing during this unique time. So I will stay on if anybody wants to stay on and chat or if you have questions. But otherwise, I will let you get back to your Thursday. And we'll see all of you. I see most of you over the next few days for your various visits. But if nothing else, I will see you in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining in.